Hello, everyone. It's Lori Lee Rourke from It's Not About Food podcast. And I just wanted to say thank you for tuning into this podcast. This is our monthly video that we do, and I'm really appreciative of you putting up with it and watching it and also listening to it and listening to our podcast. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So today we're going to be talking about parenting your inner child. And, you know, a lot of us, we don't want to believe it, but a lot of us are doing things in our lives as adults because of what happened to us as children. And we kind of think, well, I grew out of that and I don't have to worry about it anymore. But there still are feelings left in there or new, and then they pile on with new ones that, you know, has a lot to do with our upbringing, a lot to do with how we were treated as children. And the way to get through that is to reparent yourself, is to learn how to be a good parent to you, which again, a lot of us don't want to do because we don't have time. We have to work, we have to do the dishes, or we have to live our little lives. But it is very important work to reparent that child and reparent ourselves. Many of us had very strange childhoods. You know, some of them were abusive and some of them were neglectful. Some of them were really, really great. But even so, there's always a few things that when you're little, you kind of take the wrong way. I can remember being told at a very young age that I was kind of chubby, and I can still hear that tape in my head if a certain thing gets sort of triggered. I don't believe it anymore, and I don't care about it anymore, but it caused a lot of my eating disorder when I was an adolescent and in all my 20s, and it really almost killed me. And that person that said that was just off the cuff and didn't really mean to, you know, wreck my world from then on. So, and you know, things that were said to me by my family and friends of the family, and you know, they just came from an age where you just say things to children and you don't think it's gonna stick in there, but it does. John Bradshaw has a great saying when he says, you know, we're not allowed to see that things are not going well in our household and come into the living room with our little bag packed and go, Mom and Dad, you know, I'm just not getting my needs met here, so I'm moving down the street with, you know, my best friend's family because I think I'll do better there. We really couldn't do that. You know, we had no money, no credit cards, no car, and we had to just stick it out. And kids are good about that. They just adapt. But as we're older, we don't have to put up with abuse or neglect or just outright, you know, somebody not paying attention to us or not respecting us. And we can put down boundaries as older people, but when we were little, we couldn't. So it's good to go back and see where were our boundaries crossed, where did we get hurt, where are these wounds, and how can we help ourselves through them. So I'm going to do something on the video that I've never done before. On this series of It's Not About Food podcast, we're going to do a little visualization. So I'm going to kind of shorten the one that we normally do in group and with individual clients, and the one that is in our book, Carol and mine's book, It's Not About Food. And it's the Reparenting Your Inner Child visualization, and I'll just do sort of a shortened version one. So if you can just close your eyes for a moment and breathe in deep and breathe out deep. Let everything that you have to do go, whatever it is that you've had to do to get here to listen to this today, and whatever you have to do once the video is over, just let that go so that you can be here now. And from this quiet, still place within you, allow yourself to go back as long as you can, and try to come up with the first time you remember eating for reasons than hunger, or you remember restricting, or you remember feeling really bad about your body and your weight. And see if you can understand or set the scene of why that would be. What was happening in your house at that moment? Or what was happening around you? What were you feeling when you first reached for food, or you first started beating yourself up for how you looked or how you felt? What was happening? Just accept what comes. A lot of people say, oh, I think I made that up. But yeah, we kind of do, but it's okay. So just let whatever comes. And notice if you can have some compassion for the child that is struggling with this moment. Just take a minute to just see if you can bring that compassion that you would probably have for anybody else in the world. See if you can have compassion for that little girl or boy that you were. Breathe in and breathe out. Keep breathing. And then bring yourself as an adult with all the resources that you have, with ways to take care of yourself in place, and come in to wherever that little girl or boy is and let her or him leave with you. So you don't live in that house anymore. Those people are not you're not their little child. They're not your adult parents and have a lot of control over you or power over you anymore, or whoever it was. The bullies at school or the teachers or just somebody on the street. They have no power over you anymore. You are your inner child's adult parent now. And let her or him hold your hand and you walk out of there, leaving all of that behind. So the trick is to put her deep or him deep into your heart. Lives here now. Lives here. Not in the past and certainly not in the future, but here with you now. And when things happen to you that come up and you're really upset about them, or you notice that you're doing things that you don't want to do, or behaviors that you're just not okay with, really, ask yourself these questions. What is my inner child feeling? How are they trying to cope with these feelings? What does my child within really need? How can I give this to myself? And then do whatever it takes to give that to you, to comfort and to stay and to acknowledge and to listen to your feelings, to this little vulnerable place within all of us. Full recovery means showing up at your worst for yourself. It's easy to show up for us when we're like on top of the world, but showing up for yourself emotionally in the moment that you need it the most is full recovery. Know that you can meet your emotional needs And you can feel your true feelings. They're okay. They're just feelings. They will not hurt you. This already happened or is happening, and it's okay. And until you can meet yourself on that level, the behaviors are there. It's the way you've taken care of yourself. So take care of yourself a different way, and you'll be much happier. So it can be overwhelming to do this work, especially, yourself in your room alone. So know that it is imperative that you get help, that you get support, that you get a therapist, that you have supportive friends, and you have a group that you like, a group of people who think like you and are, into recovery and into bettering ourselves. But the most important person to have in your life is you. That you love yourself unconditionally. That you are on your side every time. And that eventually you'll uncover your reasons for your eating disorder or whatever behavior you're going through right now. And it'll be okay. It's, again, not anything that you haven't already lived through, that you've already done. Be on your own side. Be a comfort to yourself. Be your own best friend. Treat yourself like a wanted and excited about guest in your home. Because this little part of you may have not liked her very much or him very much. You might have just gotten, tense with them and, not wanting to hear what they had to say because you were busy doing different things. You've already worked on that. You've already worked on that a lot. You're sick of working on it. It's okay. Tune in, check it out, listen to yourself on every level, and you'll be so much happier. As we saw, little Sheila had to come. She is my little dog within. And she has a little dog inside too. But so what we were talking about is the Reparenting Body Love card, which has the goddesses standing under a beautiful sort of an Asian kind of I don't know what that's called, a little frame. And she's holding on to her little girl's hand, the inner child. She's holding on to that. And the little deer has a little deer too. So we all have it. We learn from these old tapes. A lot of them need to be not listened to anymore, or just don't believe it anymore and let them go. So get support. Get support. Wherever you get that from, get support. You can do it. We can do it. And we'll be better people for it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And I would love to hear from anyone about what you think. LauraLeeRourke@gmail.com is my email. And also LauraLeeRourke.com. Be happy to hear from you. Thank you so much.